Die Hard on a container ship, or it could be considered Under Siege on a container ship, or Jason Statham doing his Jason Statham thing. That's right, we're going to be looking at the film Mutiny, directed by Jean-Francois Richet. Are we going to be doing one review? No, we're going to be doing 3 reviews. First, we're going to look at it for the average audience. Will the ordinary film viewing public like this movie? Second, for those of you who are into this sort of thing, and I'm talking about action, violent, revenge movies, will you like this movie? And then third, what's the big idea? What is that big idea that's holding this movie together? We'll consider that as we look at this film and I like to give it a little added value to the ordinary review. So before you go any further, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, ringing that notification bell, doing all those things so we can get this review and bring this site to a lot of different film lovers who might like my way of doing these reviews as we look at today, Mutiny on Bounds of Cinema. Cole Reed is a bodyguard for a shipping magnate. That guy really likes Cole. He treats him like a son, even though he already has a son. On the eve of the sale of his shipping business, his boss is ambushed, and so is Cole. And he's killed. And Cole is blamed. And he has to go on the run, even though it's very clear that he did not kill his boss. Cole finds out that there were some members of the ambush crew who were employees of his boss, and members of a crew of a ship that was about to leave port. So Cole finds one of the bodies, one of the ambushers, and takes their ID. It happens to be a bald guy. This is important later. And he uses their passport and ID to get onto a ship. And he's going to try to find out what is going on with all of this. So, while he's on that ship, he skulks around and learns all the parts of the container ship. And while he's there, he finds in one of the containers a group of men, women, and children that have been kidnapped. They are being human trafficked. And so the crew and the captain, turns out they're all involved with this. And then you add to the mix a third mate, Angie Ellis, who shows up. She was a late addition to the crew, and she's not really a part of the regular crew, so she doesn't really know, and she's not a part of this human trafficking thing. So she joins Cole in trying to help rescue these kidnapped people and stop the human traffickers. And that's what happens as the story progresses through the rest of the film. For the general audience, this is a Jason Statham film. If you like his work and you've seen it before, you know what you're going to get. Its location is a little bit different. I've never been on a container ship. I learned a lot of the layout. It's kind of interesting what's there. It's also another thing I learned, that as a bald man, if I were to shave my beard, I can basically take any passport or ID that has another bald man's picture and use it as my own without any question. Who knew? The setup is pretty basic. Cole Reed is a bodyguard. He's played by Jason Statham. He also is a former cop, British cop. So he has a lot of specific skills and abilities. And there's a father-son dynamic that is explored throughout this film. And it's something you'll pick up on, which is actually pretty interesting. It's the only little bit, one of the few little bits of character development you get. When the boss is killed in that ambush, and we get to see we get to look at the man who's behind it all, the uber villain that's pulling the strings. His name is Tehran. He's played by Jason Wong. We see that he's trying to arrange it so that you've got to make sure that Jason Cole is dead and blamed for the murder. When Jason Cole gets on the ship, he starts working his way through the ship, and he links up with third mate Angie Ellis, played by Annabelle Wallis. She and Cole team together to try to solve this problem of rescuing these people and getting home. Now, note, she's not a love interest. She's an attractive actress, and you think possibly they're setting them up, but no, she works as his assistant, a very capable, very brave, one to assist him in going against the bad guys. She participates in some of the violence, but not to the level that Cole does. He's the one that gets the bulk of the kills in this movie, although she does help him at particular moments. The villain on the scene is Captain Marco Madsen. He's played by Roland Moeller, a very evil captain, former mercenary, and he's leading the crew of ne'er-do-wells to fight. And he has really good ability. He's got a high level of skill, so he is a good match for Cole in the battle on the ship. Another thing I learned, that the shoulder and the leg make good places that you can store a knife. If you get stabbed in the shoulder, just wait a little bit, or your leg, and then if you're in another part of the fight, you can reach down, grab the knife, or grab the knife from here and flip it around and use it. It makes a great place to store your knives. Who knew? That's another thing I learned. The U.S. Navy, I did mention them before. U.S. Navy comes off very well in this movie. Very well as, are they going to get there? Big question. Are they going to get there in time in the ship at sea, to keep the kidnappers from doing, the human traffickers from doing what they're planning, and to rescue our heroes? That's the thing we wonder for the whole movie. Basically, it's a revenge tale. So you know what you're going to get. A lot of blood, a lot of action, well choreographed action. This is what this is. So if you like that corner, if you can handle that much violence, then there's a lot of it in here. It's rated R, as I said before. I could recommend this to the average audience. You just have to be aware that it is very violent, and if violent is not your cup of tea, you might want to stay away from it. But other than that, it's a pretty basic Jason Statham action-adventure film. So, leave it up to you. For those who like this sort of thing, and I'm talking about that action-adventure, violent, very violent revenge film, this is, as I said, a basic Jason Statham film. If you've seen him in other films, you know what to expect. You could be holding a chart with all of the story beats from revenge films of this type, and you could follow it along, like Taken or John Wick or Nobody, others. You can follow along. It hits those beats, and check those beats off as it goes. Sympathetic hero, attractive co-fighter, vicious villain, high body count, creative and bloody kills, very vicious, goal to save the innocent. And you got all those things going in it. For what it is, the film hits all these beats. You'll enjoy it probably more than the average film viewer for that reason. However, I want to warn you that you might be figuring out who the uber villain and the motive of the uber villain, the one that's pulling the strings, and who's their contact within the family that got all of this going. You may figure that out pretty quickly. That might spoil it for you, but I think with all the other things, it is a Jason Statham film. You don't really need to overthink it. Just kind of watch what's happening in the film. There is not a whole lot of depth. They do explore some of this father-son issue, which I'll get to in a moment. So I will recommend this to those who like this kind of film. It hits all the beats. This is the kind of movie that fills the bill. There's not going to be a whole lot of surprises in it, so you would enjoy this. The big idea. This film delves a bit into Cole's backstory and his own relationship with his real father, his late father. His late father's birthday happens at the beginning of the film, and that kind of gets us starting to talk about it. And it really brings the boss into it as he recognizes that this is the birthday of his father, and he shows his connection with Cole on that level, kind of looking at him like another son. From the beginning to end, the issue of father-son and responsibility of what the father has to the son to the father are addressed. It's touched on, not very deep, but it's there. It does fit into the plot. It helps help you understand a lot of the stuff that happens in the story. Particularly, we see how the boss takes care of his own son, and we see that relationship as kind of alongside the relationship between the boss and Cole. So, fathers and son. What are our relationships with our fathers? What are our relationships, if we are fathers, with our children? Where are the hurts? Where are the joys? Where's the responsibilities? How does that color our understanding of father-son relationships in movies? And how does that color our relationships with other people? These are things to think about. You might think about it, talk about it after the movie's over. We'll see. A recap. I do recommend this movie for the average viewer and for those who are into this sort of thing, the action revenge movie fan. Understand that it's a Jason Statham film. If you've seen his other films, you know what's coming. If you haven't, I hope this review helps kind of set you up to expect that there's not going to be a whole lot of depth. A lot of action, but not a whole lot of depth. It is what it is. Also, the U.S. Navy comes across very well. Kudos to them. It is what it is. Have fun with it. But remember, R-rated, a lot of violence. Use your judgment. Thank you for staying with me so far. I really appreciate it. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you will know when the next set of movie reviews are coming out here on Bounds of Cinema.